So, when we're looking at the ongoing genocide in Palestine, it can be easy to feel very despondent and despairing and powerless. And it's a horrible feeling, and we see the images and we're horrified and disgusted and traumatized and grief-stricken as individuals. But we must recognize two things. Number one is that the imperialists are not having it all their own way. They may be able to bomb from the skies undefended civilians, but in every military encounter with the resistance in the Middle East, they are losing. The resistance in Gaza is decisively defeating the Israeli forces everywhere across the Strip. Recently in the Battle of Jabalia, 21 days, Israel sent a division against a brigade of Palestinians and was defeated in a titanic battle. In north of Gaza, which was supposed to have been wiped clean of resistance, the Israelis cannot put a boot or a vehicle without being attacked. The resistance is as strong as ever. The same is true in the south, in Rafah. Despite all the horrors that the imperialists inflict from the sky with their terroristic bombing campaigns, they are not able to suppress or destroy the resistance or to evict the Palestinians. They cannot wipe out 2 million people or more. The people are not going to disappear as the Israelis have always hoped they would since the Nakba. They can't learn this lesson that the Palestinians are here to stay. So that's one thing we should understand and take heart from, no matter how horrible things look. The resistance in Gaza and the resistance on the borders in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, all over, and of course in Yemen, all are working together to deal serious blows to the Zionists. They are defeated in the north of Palestine without even launching the war they keep threatening against Lebanon. They may try to escalate there, but they're already defeated. And anybody who's looking seriously at the military balance of forces can see that. So that's something to take heart from and understand the bigger picture that's going on behind these horrific crimes against civilians and this genocidal activity of the crazy Zionists. But in our own countries, when our own people are seeing these crimes and saying, we must act to stop, the world must act to stop this genocide, this feeling must be harnessed to the understanding that if we want to stop this drive, this genocidal onslaught against innocent civilians, we must stop pleading with governments and we must demand. Now, there's only one way to demand, and that's by collective strength. So the first thing we have to do is take into every one of our mass organizations the demand that they adopt a policy of mass non-cooperation. Because while imperialism survives, of course, there will always be war, but any war in particular can be stopped by the power of the masses in the imperialist aggressive countries. We have the power in each country to force our rulers to pull out of the war by refusing to move or make or load any of their munitions or supplies, by refusing to fight in their armed forces, by refusing to broadcast the lies with which they confuse the public. So all of that is in our control. We have that power, and we should be bringing those demands to our people who really want to see the end of these horrific crimes. And I was also asked to talk about what is the main goal of a communist in the present times. You know, the goal of communists is to be the brain and also the steel in the communist movement. And we get that because of our deep knowledge of scientific socialism. So the job of a communist is not to just be one more activist who runs around like a headless chicken. The job of a communist is to be an activist that is guided by deep scientific knowledge and is organized in a party that has the strength of collective understanding. So our job is to harness the power of Marxism by studying and mastering it deeply, to bring that to our activities through our party organizations so that we are thinking through how we interact with the working class and how we maximize our impact in the working class movement. And thirdly, we must always understand that our role is not to be the owners of Marxism, but the transmitters of Marxism from the books, from the past into the future, from the party into the people, because Marxism belongs to the people. They need to know it. They need to find that out for themselves. We need to encourage in the working class a culture of study, a culture of respecting and loving the science of Marxism, which is the science of their liberation, because when we put together the science of Marxism with the mass movement, you have a power that is absolutely unstoppable. So we are at a tremendous advantage as activists today compared to, say, 20 years ago. And that is that people have lost faith in the politicians and the media of the imperialist countries. They don't believe politicians, they don't believe the media. They know that they are following agendas which are hostile to ordinary people. So any person will agree with you with this simple proposition, and it doesn't matter their class background or their position in society or their educational level. You can talk to anybody with this, start a conversation with anybody in this way. You know you are being lied to, and they will say yes. And as soon as you've got somebody to agree with you about that, then you are in a position to start to show them how they are lied to, why they are lied to, how they are being manipulated through these lies, what is really in their interests and what is really against their interests. And that's a perfect starting point for all the work we need to do.